Hi everyone, come back to farmers management system. Today I just want us to continue with the purchase. So we had already corrected the loophole that we had on the invoices, that is the omission of creating the invoice number. So with that we can now continue to our purchase. So I just want us to create our routes for the purchase. So beneath invoices, let's create the purchases. Okay, so that we are able to continue start working. So let me just put this as purchase invoices. Okay, let me just call it purchase invoices. So I just want it to be like, I don't want purchase, I just want it to be like purchases. Okay, so with purchases we have the purchase list, and then we have purchase create, we have the purchase that post part of the purchase to store, then we have purchase, edit purchase, and then update, then we delete purchase. So we have all these classes properly created. Okay, so let's copy this one so that we are able to make the navigation item. So you paste this. Actually here what we need as a controller, we need to create it without there is a style I wanted us to use, but I think we just need to go the way we've done it. I wanted us to use the prefix instead. In routing, always we have something called group routing, so we can use the group routing. I think we can do that so that we learn new things. Okay, so let's come back here, we remove on that, and then here instead we are going to use the prefix. Okay, so and the prefix now is when we put the route here, we put route. So we use the group and then function. So we are going to have this, the first one for listing purchase. Yeah, let me use like this so you can see. So we have this one which is going to land us to the purchase, or you can simply put it like this, but I think you can use like this. If you put like this, we can use it like that. So you just leave it, so meaning that when you go to this URL, then we will call this URL. Okay, then if we go to add, so let me put this one as add just to avoid confusion. Then this one also I put as add, just the same thing. Then we have edit, this one remain as it is, then we pass the ID. We have edit, we pass the ID, delete, we pass the ID. So all these ones are just okay. So this one we can call it purchase list, or we can simply call it purchases. Let's just call it like that for the sake, I think it is better. Then this other one we can say add. This other one we call add purchases. Add purchases, I think we can just add purchase, store purchase, edit purchase. Yeah, so this one are just okay the way they are. Okay, let me see why an error is coming. I just want to check where this error is coming from. This error must be coming from, because here we had the group. Okay, yes, we had the group, and then we need to close it somewhere down there. Be after putting the purchases, then we are going to close this. Okay, yeah, to close that one. That is the reason as to why we are seeing the error, not there, but I want us to close it somewhere here. Let's close it here instead. Yeah, because logout supposed to be outside. Okay, I hope you are understanding what we are doing clearly. So this one is a new style of routing. So let's create a class for the list. We are going to create this as purchase controller instead. So let me just say purchase purchases. Let me use that new name. So we have the purchases controller. Okay, yeah, so I have a plugin here which can assist me, but I don't want that. Let's just first of all change everything, so you can see that I have changed everything to purchases controller as it is. And then after that, what I want us to do is to import that up here. Okay, so we import app, then we have the purchases controller. So automatically this is not going to disappear until we create that controller. So we can come here. I taught you how to do that, but I can use the shortcut method to do that. So we have, for example, we take the invoice controller, we can duplicate it. Okay, we can duplicate that. Don't have that duplication. Okay, let me copy, and then I can as well come and paste so that I have this copy here. So this one I can come and copy this. You copy, and then we come to this one, the copy, then we rename it. Okay, so that is also a shortcut of doing it. Then ensure you change this to purchases controller. Everything here we can remove. Okay, we can remove everything here because we don't need them for now, so that we remain with this clean. So we have the first one. If you remember, our first class here is purchases. Okay, so we come here and we come and put the purchases. So public function purchases. So we just remove this. We don't need this. Okay, we don't need this one, so remove this. And let's also remove this. I think we just need to write it in order, so we can just come to this one and copy what we have done here already. You copy and then we come and paste it here so that we make our work move faster. Yeah, as you can see, so we have the purchase, then title here we make it to purchase list. Okay, so it is purchase list, and then we are going to make here purchases, then list. Okay, so let's create this folder here. We have admin, we right click on that, and then we create a new folder called purchases. Then we are going to copy whatever we have here. So we can check that one for the invoices. You can highlight everything, copy, and then you come to purchases, you paste it there. Okay, so we have our blades ready. Okay, so our blades are ready for the purchases. So let me see. So when we come to, first of all, let's just open list for the purchases, and then we can edit everything here. We can put this one to be purchases, and then this one also we change to purchases. Then this one and then this one also we come and put as purchase. Okay, here we have, let me just copy this URL the way it is. So we have this one. Okay, so you can see what we are going to do here is just the same thing we did there, though the same things we've been doing here, but you just take everything here. Okay, you come and you can see our next is here, is called, this one is called add. Okay, you need to watch this carefully, and there is one omission which you need to put this one here, so that it is going to separate in between these ones here. So we have this one. So ensure that you come here and you place the same as admin. Let's remove this other one, admin purchases. Then our URL here is add. No, the URL here is not having anything, so you leave it the way it is. So you remove this. No, this is for the add button. Okay, this is for the add button, so you use the add. Okay, we have add here, don't forget that. For the purchase, here, we are going to use, for the purchase to get it to the list, we are just going to use that same URL which is here. So we come and save that. So here we say add new purchase. So here also we need to change it to purchases list, and then we are going to remove everything here for each. We don't need a mess up for now. And then let's come and refresh our page for the, oh, we've not made the navbar. So we come to our sidebar here. In our sidebar, and be below the invoices, we are going to create the purchases. Okay, so ensure that you have this URL recorded properly. We have the purchases. Let's close this. We have the li tag closed there, and then we have everything is now working fine. So we have this as purchases. So let's come and refresh this page, so we can see purchases is down there. When we click it, it opens our purchases URL, as you can see. Okay, so we have this add. When we click add, it should be taking us to add, but this one will give us error because we've not edited the add properly, because we will be able to see and define methods which are already existing for the add. So let's work on the add one to faster make this display properly. So with the URL, we are done with that. So we come back to add. So we click on add purchase. Okay, and we need to first of all put the URL, create the class for add purchase here. Okay, so the add purchase, we come to our purchase controller, and then we say add purchase. Okay, so our code is displaying the title add purchase, and then we are getting this. Let me just omit that auto-generated code and then show you what is supposed to be done there properly. So within the add, when you call the add view, okay, in the add view, what I want us to display here is to get the invoice. So we are going to get the invoice number. Actually, that is what is very important. That is how I want us to do that. First of all, let's call that header. Then we come to this. The invoices are already working, and then we write here. Let's say get invoice. Okay, or we can call it get invoice number, like that. And then we are going to invoices model, which we have, and then we are going to define, let's just define it directly here, where. Okay, so we say where. So in our invoice model, where is deleted, we close this, and we come and say is deleted is, you remember the is deleted function, is equal to 0, and then we also going to get something. So is deleted is equal to 0, and yeah, so that one, and then let's come down here, and then we say select. We are only going to take some section, okay? So we say select invoice ID. So we are going first of all to check on the invoice ID, then invoice number, okay? So we go to our database. So we are going to check invoice number, and at the same time we are going to get the invoice. We called it net total, okay, and then get. So here, this one invoice number, we need to check from the invoice model. So invoice model, you have to ensure that it is called up here. Let's remove this one. I don't think we need it. Request we will use, but this one you have to import it. So let's go to our invoice table, and then we see we created the invoices, and then we have this invoice number. So you copy the way it is, and you bring it down here, you paste it, okay? So we are comparing that. So we have the net total also is here, okay? Let me see net total. So this is actually what we are also going to take from the invoice table. So I'm sure you copy that and you paste it here. So after pasting, then we are now going to get the supplier as well, because we need the supplier. So let's get the supplier. To get the supplier, we are also going to use data, just like invoice, and then we get supplier, okay? So we get suppliers, and in the suppliers we are using suppliers. Let me see, we have the suppliers model, okay? Suppliers model, and then automatically in my side it has been imported. So sure you import this one up there. So supplier model, and we say where is deleted is also equal to 0, just the same as the invoice. Remember, we have been using the delete. So with the supplier we can just leave it there, because we are going to get everything. So the only thing we need to get is I think we are going to get supplier name. Let's return just specific. So supplier name and ID, and then get, okay? Yeah, so that is okay. And then we return view, which is purchases add. So now our ad is ready, so we can edit it to work, right? So let's just see. If you refresh this page now, if you click this button, it's now displaying a different error, which is now saying column not found. So we have the supplier name, because we have just chosen to put something here. You can see we have something which we've not declared. So let's just we can clean this. Let me just get the form. Yeah, I can clean these things here. I don't need them. I can just clean them the way it is, so that we write new things. Remember, we've just declared this get invoice and the get supplier. So so what we need here is okay, first of all we check that our form method is post, and then the URL that we are going to place here is, we need to click, and then we say it is purchases, this one, and then it is add. So add this one for post. That's what we put here. Okay, sorry, we are here. So let me just put this and then add. Okay, so that is the method that we are putting there, the URL, sorry. And then we are going to use the form group as usual, and then we are starting with let's start with supplier. So we are going to start with the supplier. So we say role name, then we say for we have for supplier ID, exactly. So we call it supplier, then we are going to declare the select options. Okay, so our first of all we put that name, then we say select supplier, which is required, select supplier. So we put the option, but remember we created this method get supplier here, and now the get supplier, then value supplier ID. What we need is supplier name. Okay, so we have get supplier, supplier ID, and then supplier we are going to get name. So let's go to our supplier table here. Where is our suppliers table? And what we have is called name. So you come and paste it here. Okay, so once you've done this, we close the div, we close the for each functions, we come to this page and refresh, and then we click add new purchase. So we have a known field called supplier name. Let me just get that very fast where we've just included it. Supplier name, where is our supplier name? We have a known column, supplier name, the field MySQL supplier name for suppliers where it's deleted equal to 0. So let me just take this. Yeah, so here is the issue. We are getting name, not supplier name. Okay, so we come here and then refresh our page, and you can see that we have the suppliers, but something is not working because we are, if you see, these are the names of the suppliers that we have. We have Lavinia, is that is actually, so what is wrong is on our HTML here. So let's just check where we have the HTML and where is the issue. Okay, I think that one we can just correct very fast, where we just copy this. Okay, we copy, so we have the level, then we copy something like this. I think if we copy that, let me see where we have messed up. Okay, so I'll put this from level, select supplier name ID. Okay, the form, so select, this is the problem, select has just closed wrongly. So we come and refresh this page, and we can see that our supplier is displaying properly now. Okay, so now what we need to do, we continue with our functions which we are generating. So we are going next to invoice number. Okay, so remember we had our table here. So we come to the purchase. Did we create the table? Sorry for that. So we've not created our table. The reason as to why things are not working out. I wish the class was loud, would have informed me what is going on. So let's very fast create our table. Let's create our table and then connect our table model. That is a stupid way of teaching. I'm sorry about that. So we come to our pharmacy, we create table called suppliers. So let's create it very fast. There are very few things that we have. So we have purchases, the table called purchase, not supplier. We call it purchases. Okay, let's create our table called purchases. I wish that is what we've been talking about. get suppliers there. So we are in the purchase. So create table called purchases, and then we have ID. Okay, we have this one as a auto increment. Then we come to supplier ID. Okay, supplier ID, that is going to be integer. Let's just leave it as integer. For the suppliers, we can leave it integers, then null. Okay, then we are going to create the invoices ID. So let's call it invoice ID. Okay, we can also make it integer, and then we say it is null. Then the next one we can create also is voucher number. Okay, we have the voucher number. We have the voucher number. Yeah, so here is voucher number. The voucher number is not that compulsory, but in any case that we create the vouchers, so vouchers sometimes are given out by different companies that you can use it for the purchase. So we can just put that one, but this one I'm just giving a hint. So in future we can implement that, how to include the voucher, which sometimes is going to deduct the amount directly from the voucher. Okay, so let's use that as voucher number. So that one we use it, maybe we want to record, we want to know which voucher was used. Okay, so voucher number here we can use VACA, so because it can be big, so we use null. Okay, so we have the voucher number, like you see, we have the invoice ID as int, voucher number we use as, then we have purchase date. So let's just add like we can add like 6. So let's add like 6. So we can have here purchase date, purchase date, then purchase date, or we use date. So that one is date. You can use date, and then or we can use date time. I think that is better. So instead of date, we use date time. Date time, sometimes somebody can prefer to use date time, and then we put is null, and then we also have net total. Okay, so that is where we are going to record the net total that is on the invoice. Okay, the net total. Then we have here as VACA 255. We can use it, VACA 255. Then we say null. Then we have the next is payment status. Okay, so let's use payment status. So in the payment status we can use tiny int as usual. Then we put it null, not null, but we are going to put it as defined. So we say we are going to define this one. So the one which is by default, we are going to put 1. Okay, so by default let's put 1, whereby 1 is equal to pending. So let's put 1. So meaning that if payment is not checked there, by default it is pending. So let's say 1 1 is equal to pending, 2 is equal to accepted, and then 3 is equal to cancelled, because sometimes payment can be cancelled, so we call it cancelled. Okay, so those things we now know, we've defined them, and the person who can be using it after us will be able to identify easily. So we have the next one is deleted. So is deleted is equally a tiny int, which is as defined, so we put it the default value as 0, whereby we said 0 is equal to not deleted, and 1 is equal to deleted. Okay, so let's come, and lastly, or last but not least, we can add another one here. We say created at, and then we have updated at. So all these are date time. Okay, they are all date time, so we can put them null all. Okay, so created as, updated as. So with this, our table is ready, and we can click save. So our purchase table is now ready. So we can see we have the supplier ID, invoice ID, yeah, net total. Okay, so let's work on this. So after that, now we are going to work on add. Okay, so we have the supplier ID, supplier name is going to be stored here, the supplier ID which we are getting from this. So we go to invoice IDs, right? So let's go to invoice ID. Okay, so we can call it invoice ID. So we can call it invoice number. Okay, so from there we have the invoice ID. Let me just see, this one I can break it somewhere here because it is longer, so we can break it so that you can see it easily. So we have with the invoice, there is what we want to do. Also, we won't just use it directly like this because we are not going to make entry. So we are going to use level, and then we are going to use the select. Okay, so we are going to use select same way we did to the suppliers. So use the select, then we are going to call invoice name. Okay, so select class ID is equal to invoice ID, then we put it required. So we say for each get invoices, so we had already written that here, get invoice number. Okay, so we say for else get invoice number as invoice. So we put here invoice. Okay, so here what did we write as the invoice? That is how I want us to do it. So let's just first of all be patient about it. So we select the invoice, then we get invoice number, okay, as invoice, and then we are also going to declare another one. So this is value, so we have value, then in the value we are going to get the invoice number. So I mean the ID. Then here, let's just remove this one for this one, remove first, and then we are also going to get another one, which is we call it data. So data, we can call it data total. I think, yeah, let's call it data total, like that. So data total, and then the data total we can say is equal to let me just write down here. So we is equal to, we have what did we call that? So we get invoice, then we get the grand total. Actually, we were not calling it grand total, but we called it net total. Okay, we called it net total. So let me just put this as net total, like that, like that. So we have net total, and then we close that, then we put this again, so we get value 2. So this one, I think this one is going to get invoice as, this one is called value, let me see. So let's, because we've used value here, so here we are going to use a different one. So the good thing, we've used this one as supplier and this one as now invoice. So this one we're going to use as invoice, not value, right? So we are going to use this one as supplier, invoice number. Okay, so this one is going to be net total, net total, no, sorry about that, is going to be invoice number. Okay, so we have invoice number, and then we can query the ID. Okay, so let's just put it like this. We can query the ID, so we can put question mark, and then we say ID, question mark, then we put invoice ID, like that. Okay, yeah, so this is okay. We can check if it is working, but before that, it cannot just work direct like that. Okay, I think we can do it differently. So we can back here, let's just work on this one differently. So we have the option, then we get supplier, we call this one value 1. I just want that to be a little bit uniform. Okay, so we call this value 1. I just have a feeling that is the best way we should do it. Then we come to option, then option here, value is equal to value 1. Yeah, it's going to be value 1. Okay, value 1, then ID. Then we are going to call this, we don't need this one now, it is value 1, then name. Okay, that one is okay. We close option, we close we end the for each, then we close the select, then we close the div. So after closing that, we come to the second one, this one, whereby we declare this as get invoice number as value, let's call it value 2. Okay, we call this one value 2, like that, right? So that the option we have, this one is going to be value 2, not the value 1, and then we have this one is going to be value 2, the all of it. So we have value 2 is equal to net total value 2 is equal to ID, then we have data, the second one we have data total is equal to Then we have value 2 net total. Then we have value 2 invoice number, and then value 2 ID. That is now very correct. Then we have option, we can close this one, and for each, and select, then and div. Okay, and div. Then what we are going to make next is we are going to make the total now. Okay, so we are going to make the total. So div form group, and level here we are going to call it net total. So net total, we are going to call it total amount. So we are going to use input. Okay, so we use input number. The value is old value. Then we are going to plus this as read only. Okay, so that is okay. So let me just make this beneath so that you can see it properly. So we have that. Okay, so let's save. Now we need just to write some scripts which is going to control the two. So when we toggle, because we want, when we select invoice number, then we are getting the total of that invoice from that table, same table. So that is the reason as to why we need just to write some script down here. So that let me just put a script like that. So we use document get element by ID, whereby we have the invoice ID. So dot add event listener. We are going to use change function. That's okay. So we are going to use let selected option. Let selected is equal to this, dot options. Okay, this dot options dot selected, and this dot option, this dot selected item. Then we say the next one, that document dot get element by ID. So we are getting the net total dot value, okay, is equal to selected dot get attribute data total. Okay, data total, and then we close that. Okay, so let's see if it is working. We come here and we need to refresh this page. So when we select our supplier, we take is invoice 2. So you see we can get the total amount of invoice 2 automatically. When we select invoice 1, the value changes. With 3, the value changes. So that is what we want. We want our system to work automatically, fully automated system. That is the best way. So now let's continue with implementation. So we have implemented this. I want us to make this note. So let's disable it. Instead of read only, we can disable it so that it doesn't allow anything to, mouse cannot click it. Okay, so if we select this, we just see it as a screen changing. Okay, so let's do this. We come here and we put another form, div class is form group. Okay, it's form group. We close that and we are going to put another one, which is now the voucher number. Okay, Let's just check from our database. What do we have? We have the voucher, invoice ID, voucher number. So invoice ID is a supplier ID is taken care of. So we are going to get the voucher number. Okay. So let's get voucher number. Okay. So level, we get level voucher number. So it's called voucher number. Let me see what we have in the database just to be sure. Yeah, voucher number. Then we come here and our voucher number, we are just going to use the text as usual. Then we put text, and it's not going to be compulsory, so we just leave it like that. Okay, so we have the next one is I don't know why this continue taking me there. It wants me to put the submit button. Let me just put it there. That is okay. So let's remove this additional one. We come here and put, we are going to create, the next one is div form group, and then we are going to create the purchase date. I think that is also there. Let me just check. We have the purchase date exactly. So purchase date, we're going to use date, and then we need to close that. Then the next one is payment status, no total net. That one is already taken care of up there. So we have payment status. So div form group, payment status. Yeah, so let's check. That is how payment status written. So we are going to select payment status, and paid. So we have this, remember what we have here. We have pending one, value one is pending, value one, we call one value one as pending, okay. Then we have value two is accepted. Let's just use the accepted, we already written accepted. Then we have value three rejected. Yeah, rejected, so it's cancelled or rejected. So let's just use rejected, is the best one. And then we close the div. Okay, so let me see, is something missing? Yeah, I can put this down here, I can bring it. So this is wrong, we cut that. Let me put this a bit smaller so that you can see clearly. Then we close select down there. Okay, so even if right now we come and refresh this page, we don't get any error. You can see these things are available. Okay, so let's just, there is something missing somewhere. Let me see, we have this one, we have this. I think we should be closing a div somewhere here. Okay, close div, and close and refresh this page. No, it is not closed there. So let's just select that. We'll check why that is happening. After this, we will be able to close other divs. Okay, we'll be able to check why this thing is just connecting directly beneath this. It's not supposed to do that. Oh, we have div. Oh yeah, this div has got an error there. So we have div. It was showing something like e. Yeah, so it is okay. You can see the good thing with Laravel, but still there is a problem here. I can still see we have a problem somewhere. So we have payment. So if I come to this and I took this div form group and put it here, form group, and I put this for name. That is okay. Then is there anything here which is not working well? Form control, name, ID. Actually I just need name, payment status. That's fine. I don't know why it is not aligning well. I'll check that later because I don't know why this state payment status is coming close to this. I'll check that one later. You can see it, why that one is behaving that way. So I think we just need to remove this because it is a repetition. We already have the select which is stating that, so I don't see the reason why we need to add it there. So if we refresh this, we can see this is already telling us select payment status here, so we don't need to put that one. Okay, to make everything just okay. Okay, let me see if invoices also are behaving that way. So we can see we have this one was working fine, so there is something somewhere we still not working though. I'll just need to check why that is not right. Okay, there must be somewhere. Let me just see. Yeah, I think there are some issues here. So for example, I've just realized that we have not closed. Let me see. So we have opened this div. Okay, so we have opened this div. That is okay. We have opened this. That is okay, and closes it down here. Let me just make this one also come to the line. We have opened this and then closes it here. We've opened this one and closes it here. Then we've opened this one and you see it is closing here. So let's remove this one so that it closes here. Then this one the same. This one is closing here. So that is the reason why we were not getting it right. So when I return back the level payment and then come and refresh this, you can see that it is now displaying correct. Okay, so that is the reason our problem was generated. Okay, so let's now continue to finish up because this video is becoming now longer than usual. So we have payment status, then we have it's deleted, created at, and updated as. So all these are automatic. So these are the things which we need in our ad. So the next thing we need to place is now to come to our controller and then write our functions for posting. So store purchase. So let's write that store purchase. We come and put store public function store purchase. We request. Okay, So what we are going to do is we are going to dd, let's dd, we dd and requests, we dd request all. Okay, dd request all. So we need to see what we have in our form. Okay, so let's refresh this and then come select our supplier. We select invoice, we have that. Then we have voucher number, let's say 001, and then date, we say 14th day, we say payment is accepted, then we submit. So these are the details that we are submitting into the database. Okay, we have 1 2 3, there are 5. Okay, so we are going to submit 5 of them. So let's see how to implement that. So we come, say purchase supplier ID. Okay, let me just copy everything here to make it faster. So we need just to first of all say supplier ID. So we put this up here. Okay, so let's remove that. So we are going to write this phrase and we are going to say let's call this variable purchases, purchase is equal to new purchase model. Okay, the new purchase model is supposed to be up here. So let's see, it is purchases model. So we need just to import it so that we use purchases model. Have we created that model? No, the model is not yet been created. So let's create the purchase model. Okay, otherwise I want to end there so that I don't want this video to be very long. I'm going to continue from here by creating purchase model and then we continue doing everything. So thank you very much. Bye for now.